It's going good. I had work today and
Yeah.
it was a long day, but we survived it. So
Yep. It's same boat. I was literally sitting at work. It was like 6:15 and I'm like, guys, I've got to go. I'd love to sit here and chat, but
got things to do.
I got things to do. So but it's all good. Really excited to have you on and yeah, we'll get this thing going.
Okay, awesome.
Cool. All right, let me make sure everything's rolling. Yep, we're good. Cool. All right. So I'll do my intro and we'll get it going.
Sounds good.
Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. This is day 3 in a row. This is some kind of record for me. I don't know what got into me this week, but, just all kinds of podcasts and all that fun stuff. But really excited to sit down with our guest tonight. We got Bella Raye. How's it going?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. I'm doing really well. It's sitting here in Central Texas and just kind of enjoying this oddly warm weather. So
We're the same boat in Nashville. It's
yeah,
been cold and then it's summer. It's strange.
yeah. We were like 20 degrees last week, and then today it was like in the mid 60s, and I'm like, it feels good out here. So
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I love the
no,
warm weather. So
not at all. Not at all. So glad we finally got this one on the books. I think we were supposed to originally do something in January and then we had to reschedule and whatnot, but I'm glad we were able to get this back on the books. So
yeah, me too.
so just kind of get everybody that's listening that's just kind of meeting you for the first time. You're originally from Bristol, Tennessee. I don't know why I almost said North Carolina, but Tennessee.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Bristol?
It was great. I mean, Bristol is a small town. It's growing. I feel like whenever I go back, there's new things to see and do. It was a great place to grow up. I mean, I think it's great for families, and it served what it needed to serve in my life. And yeah, it was just it was a good slow paced way to grow up, and I loved living there when I did live there. So.
Nice. And how long so now you're based out of Nashville. How long have you been based out of Nashville?
Weirdly, I have been here. It's insane how time flies, but I've been here almost 6 years in
Oh
August.
wow.
So yeah, I moved here when I was 17 and blinked my eyes and now I'm here. So it's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm happy that I'm still here though. Like that's a good
Yeah.
sign. So
Oh yeah, for sure. It's always really interesting because people move to Nashville and it's like they give it 2 years, they give it the old college try, if you will, and then it's like,
right.
oh, it's not really for me, and then they just kind of
Yeah,
move on. So
I know. Yeah, I honestly Nashville's become like my real home to me. I
yeah,
feel like it's like I don't know. I always tell people it's a big city, but it's such a small town, so it's
yeah,
easy to get in a grind here, and I love it. So
yeah, for sure. Now, do you think it's easier to stick in Nashville, being that Bristol's not too far off? So if you ever just need to go home for a minute, it's
I mean, yeah, it's a super easy drive if I were to need to go back.
mm,
My parents are actually in Nashville. They moved 2 years after
okay.
I did. And then my siblings are kind of scattered, but so I really don't have to go back all that often. But if
Ah,
I did, yeah, it's an easy shot, like right down the interstate. So it's
yeah.
not bad at all. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. So growing up in Bristol, super small town, like you'd mentioned, I think I was reading that your elementary school, middle school, and high school were all within like a mile or two of each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier, a very small town. I basically was friends with the same people from kindergarten through 12th grade.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just one of those towns where you're always going to see someone, someone's car, like you're going to see someone in the grocery store. But yeah, I mean, it was like almost like you could see all the schools and they were on the same
Yeah.
street. It was crazy.
Yeah. I grew up in a very similar town. We couldn't go anywhere with my mother because she worked at the bank. So she knew everybody. Anytime we went to the grocery store, it's like, oh, hey, it's like,
Yeah,
mom.
yeah. See, here I feel like I can like put on sweats and just
Yeah.
like completely blend in and no one's gonna see me or care. But yeah, if you do that where I'm from, it's like
Yeah.
someone's gonna see you. It's
Yeah.
bound to happen.
Yeah.
So
So how long have you or what got you started in music? Let's kind of start there.
yeah. So I started I've always loved to sing. I've always loved music, but I never knew that there was a possibility for like a career, or there was any other level to go to in music other than just liking it.
Yeah.
I just always like looked up to these certain people and was like, wow, they're untouchable. Like they had like this special thing that they were born with, and this just happened for them. And obviously it didn't happen for me because I'm in high school or whatever. And so anyways, I got my first guitar. I was always in choir, but I got my first guitar when I was 13. And my first song I ever learned was The One That Got Away by Katy Perry.
Nice.
And and so I remember like giving concerts to my family, like the whole 9 yards. Went through high school and was in a bluegrass band.
Nice.
And learned how to play guitar even better, and learned how to sing harmonies and read music. And then when I was about 16, I was like, I actually think like I kind of want to move to Nashville once I graduate and like go to Belmont. And then that's what led me to Nashville. So
nice. The fact that you joined a bluegrass band is amazing, because you brought up that you learned how to play guitar better. And I think a lot of people that just kind of flew over their head, because I've talked to a lot of metal musicians that wish that they could play as fast as bluegrass players do.
It's a wild thing, because I mean, like I said, I knew how to play like a Katy Perry song, and I knew how to like kind of sing, but not to the extent that I do now. And so I was just kind of like thrown up on stage and expected to like figure it out, and I did. And it gave me amazing experience, and then like not just under my belt, but I mean, a lot of fast-paced things, and you have to be like on it or it's not going to be good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you remember why you chose Katy Perry to be like that first song that you learned, or was it just because it's Katy Perry?
I don't know. I want to say like California Girls and she was like in her prime when I was like 13. And so I think that she was probably just on my radar, and to this day I still use Ultimate Guitar Tabs, like the app. And so like I think I just like pulled that up, and it was probably like one of the like top 10 like most played songs on it, and I was like, oh, let's learn this one. And it was easy. It was like DCG and whatever. So I don't know, but I would still love that song. So
nice. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It's one of those things where it's like sometimes it's like they listen to Katy Perry or whoever that first song is, but no, that's very fair. So what was kind of the turning point for you to kind of explore stepping away from like focusing on covers to writing your own music and kind of diving into writing and stuff like that?
So I had on Christmas one year, I got like a Taylor Swift. I don't even know what you call it. Remember the ones that are like they don't have like the binds. It's like the I can't even think of like the composition. So I got a Taylor Swift one. I was obviously obsessed with Taylor, still am, like everyone is. And so anyways, I started toying around with like writing something. And I think the first song I ever wrote was about, I think it was like I painted the sky blue and like the grass green, and like it was so like black and white. But that was the first song I ever wrote. I remember it to this day. And then once I started writing my own songs, it just never stopped. I just constantly wrote. And I don't know why it really happened. I don't know why I did that. I used to write like short stories. And I had like a little tiny laptop, and I would write on that. And so I guess when I started playing guitar, I was like, oh, like I can write stories now to music. And then that's just kind of like how it started.
Nice. I mean, so you said that you moved to Nashville when you were 17. So I'm assuming you graduated early, because I was kind of going through your bio and the intelligence of the bio, and I'm assuming that you have to graduate by the time you're 17. Beyond me, like, so
right.
So you graduated from high school when you were 17?
So I graduated a semester early. I still walked in May with the rest of my class, but I graduated a semester early. So I was like going back and forth during that semester to Nashville for like voice lessons, and to like I used to busk on Broadway all the time. And
nice. It's looking at it, it's like 2018. That was about the first time that I went out to Nashville. Went out there in November of 2018, just kind of on a whim. So that was.
It's so different now. Like I don't even see people busking anymore. Like it's just a whole different vibe down there. But each its own,
Yeah, for sure. So I like, just going off of what's on Spotify, it looks like you started releasing music in 2018, and that'd be about the time you lived in Nashville, right?
Yeah, so I had zero experience. So
Mm,
I did like a little project before I fully moved here, like during the semester that I took
gotcha.
off from high
Gotcha.
school. And so that was like my first experience ever being in a studio. I had no idea what I was doing. My parents had no idea what they were doing. We were just figuring it out together. And then once that kind of like came out, it's not even out anymore. Like I took it off. But just had that experience, and then when I moved to Nashville and I started meeting people and playing shows, I finally met like some really really good people that I surrounded myself with that, you know, knew what they were doing. And yeah, so I think like I really figured out my sound,
Mm,
and then I started to like really start putting things out. I just had no idea at first, you know, like you're
yeah.
just dipping your toes and you're like, I don't know what my sound is. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
supposed to say. Like,
Yeah. It's just one of those things where you kind of gotta figure it out and listen to what you like listen to other music that you like, and just kind of
yep.
figure out what goes together. And it's not so much something that it's something that you have to learn, but it's also something that you have to feel. You don't just always know. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, and it changes everything. I mean, my
mm,
my voice now sounds so one time I had a voice teacher.
mm,
She's passed now. She had Parkinson's, but
mm,
she told me, and she was like, you should always sing how you talk. And if
mhm,
you don't, then like it's not your authentic voice. And so
yeah,
ever since she told me that, I think that when I sing, it's just kind of like a melody of me talking. And
mhm,
I think that once I started singing like that, I really understood what it was that I wanted to sound like.
yeah,
And it's just consistent. Every time I sing, I sound that
yeah.
way. And I think everyone, once they find that, they're like really in their niche at that point.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now that hearing you say that, it makes a lot of sense, because you like listening to musicians sing and then listening to them talk. It A lot of like the really prominent musicians that are making really good music, the way they talk is very close to the way they sing. Yeah. So
Yeah, because like the audience picks up on that and they're like, this
mm,
doesn't sound authentic,
mm,
so I don't believe you. And so when it's the opposite, they feel it more, the
yeah,
emotions. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And so 2018, was it 2018 that you officially fully moved, or was it more 2019 when you fully moved to Nashville?
I want to say it was 2018.
Okay.
I don't even remember like years. I just know that I was 17.
Yeah.
Um, well, I guess well my birthday's in June, so I
Okay.
probably was 18 when I first started
Yeah.
living here. But yeah, so I did a semester at Belmont. I ended up not doing college.
Mm,
My parents were like, let's just do this, like
yeah.
go do your thing. I literally moved into this guy's house, never lived alone in my life. Did that for a year and then have just done whatever since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I basically was just like, I want to do this, but I want to do it like full time because I feel like that's what it takes if you have to give it your all.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
And right now you're young enough that you could still go to college later. Like if in 5 years it's like, okay, this music thing just isn't doing it for me anymore. Okay, let's go to
Yeah,
school.
that
Yeah.
that was part of it too. I was like,
Yeah.
I can always go back, but I can't
Mm,
always chase this. So
mhm.
just kind of like did priority switches there.
Yeah. 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 I kind of wish I had uh that breakthrough when I was kind of transitioning out of community college going to a 4-year university, because had I had some of the thought processes I do now, I probably would have just gone on with my career after I got my associates.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think a lot of people think that way now,
Mm,
and it's a generational thing. I think a
yeah.
lot of, you know, younger people are kind of starting to question like their paths and if you always have to go to college right after high school. And
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful that like people are kind of like picking what they want now instead of just
Yeah.
following what it's always been like.
Yeah. It was having this conversation. It reminds me of a chat. Or so when after I graduated, I got invited back to by one of my teachers to talk to his students about going to school, or just like my experiences in film and TV and all that stuff. And I went to class, and the first thing I told them was, if you know 100% for sure that you want to be in the film industry, you need to walk out of this class, walk out of this class right now, leave school, move to LA, and just give it 3 years.
Mhm.
And then my teacher had to jump in. He's like, but you mean to go to school, right? Because he was trying to get me to come in. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's
No.
true though, and anyone that's like, I mean, there obviously have been people that have graduated and like
Mm,
that worked for them and whatever, but a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people just they do that. They move and they just give it everything they've got,
mm,
and that's just what they do. So I guess it's just like a personal preference, and obviously like what your support system tells you. I'm just
yeah.
lucky that my parents have always believed in me, but I know that's not the case for everyone. So
Yeah. Very
good.
true.
Yeah.
Very true. So let's jump into some of your music and talk about specifically your most recent single. Stop walking over your words there. Uh, you released it at the end of 2022. Bad at saying I'm sorry. What's the story behind this song?
Yeah, so this song was actually, so I didn't write it, which is super weird for me. I never release things that my name isn't on. But my producer Ryan Creamer told me like, hey, I have a song that I think that you would do well with.
Mm,
And at an earlier point, I probably would have been like, no, like
yeah,
I don't know about doing that because I just wasn't. I'm so much more sure in like what
yeah,
I'm comfortable in putting out, and I just know like, does it sound authentic to me
mm,
and to my brand or not? And so, anyways, I listened to the song and I like halfway through was like, absolutely, I'm cutting this. And so it used to be Avenue Beat. I'm not sure if you knew who they were. They broke up. They were a
mm,
band, an
mhm,
all girls band, and I loved their stuff. And I recognized Savannah Santos's voice on the
mm,
demo, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, okay, well, obviously anything she touches is
yeah,
like magic. So
yeah,
like obviously like whatever. And so anyways, yeah, like I just had to cut it. Like I didn't have a
mm,
choice.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah, for sure. And so with the single, is that kind of where you see yourself for the future? Is just doing singles, or is this like, are you working towards like a full length or an EP or?
So I did an EP back
Mm,
last year. And
mhm,
I had, I think, 4 songs on it.
yeah,
And I love doing EPs. I love concept things. So I like getting a group of songs together that have a lot to do with a certain point in my life or
yeah,
whatever that might be and putting that out. And I love doing that. But recently, like with Bad at Saying I'm Sorry, um, I don't know. I think a lot of people's attention spans right now are really short.
yeah,
And me not being like a massive artist yet, it's more along the lines of like, what can I get that's going to keep people's attention the
yeah,
quickest, the
for sure.
longest?
Hmm.
And so yeah, I've just been doing singles. It's just been what's working for me. And then it's kind of fun because I don't
Yeah,
have to put as much pressure on like getting a group of songs together that's like cohesive. I
yeah,
just do what I feel and write what I want to write for that time of my life.
yeah, for sure, for sure. It's there's definitely pros and cons to the way the kind of like the music industry is right now because you know before the pandemic it was still very much a full body of work, and then the pandemic kind of hit and it was like, oh well, maybe singles are the way to go, and I think we're still
Yeah.
kind of in that vibe, but in
Right.
reality it's just kind of, what kind of musician are you? Like, are you touring out and like on the road all the time? Then maybe a full body of work makes sense, but it's
Like if
just,
you're Morgan Wallen and you put out
yeah,
like 36 songs at a time,
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
But I'm not Morgan Wallen, so
yeah, for sure, for sure. Oh, so with the song out, are you already thinking about the next one, or where are you kind of at creatively?
yeah, I am. I recently went through a breakup like I
Mm,
told you.
mhm,
A breakup that I kind of like never thought was going to happen,
yeah,
and I I told myself like if this ever happened with this specific person that I would never would be able to write about it. But I literally like 2 days after it happened, like that's I've just learned that's just how I
mm,
deal and that's how I cope with things. Is like I have to write about it.
mhm,
And so yeah, I'm actually putting out a song that I wrote about that situation.
mm,
And it should be coming out like really early March. That's my
nice.
hope anyways. But yeah, no, I'm still very much creative and like ready to keep putting music out this year. I
Mm,
have like a lot lined up. So
yeah, awesome. How often are you writing? Are you like always writing, or what?
yeah, so I only work 3 days a week. So I
Mm,
nanny for my day job, which is such a blessing because I love kids, but also all the families are always so supportive of my
yeah,
music.
nice.
And so I also have like a couple free days a week, which is like the main reason why the schedule is so great. And so yeah, like almost every time I'm off, I'm writing. And if I'm not
Mhm,
writing, I'm doing something like I'll
yeah,
do like TikToks for a day or
yeah,
whatever. But yeah, I definitely use those days off to
nice.
write and get some things done. So
Yeah, for sure. Are you playing? How often are you playing shows?
Right now I'm kind of like picking and choosing shows. It's weird. And I had this conversation with someone the other day, how like the live show scene is so different now
Mhm.
because of TikTok and because
Mm.
of social media platforms,
Yep.
because you can reach so many people from doing TikToks that you can't doing live shows as an
Yep.
independent artist that no one really knows.
Yeah.
And even like the vibe at shows, I feel like live shows are a little bit different now, which is fine. Obviously, things are going to change. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I mean, for example, like I play the Bluebird for the first time next week, which is
Nice.
really exciting. And I still play rounds like here and there, but I think I'm just like really focused on being like selective
Mm.
and like what I'm doing. Like I'm making sure I'm putting like equal efforts into shows and
Yeah.
content and putting music out versus like only playing out like I feel like it used to be, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Yeah.
That makes, just kind of giving everything the attention that it deserves is very
Right.
important.
Yeah.
And social media is just as like nowadays, social media is just as important as playing out, as recording music, writing music, so yeah,
Yeah,
100% get where you're
absolutely.
coming from.
A good
Uh,
balance. Mhm.
yeah, for sure. So when you're not playing music, when you need to just kind of decompress, step away from everything, what are you doing? What are some of your hobbies? What do you do to just kind of step away?
Yeah, absolutely. This happens like more times than it doesn't, I feel like, because it's easy to hit walls as a
Mhm.
writer, I think, especially when there's so much emphasis on just like product,
Mhm.
like it is now. And so honestly, I used to fight it and be like, oh, I'm just gonna like do it anyway. And I do think it's fine to do that sometimes, but most of the time whenever I do that, I end up just like resenting what I'm doing and then I hate the
Mhm.
song. And then I'm like, oh my God, like I've lost it. Like I don't know, this isn't good. And I just really hard on myself. So
Yeah.
honestly, when that happens, I've learned to just like leave it.
Mhm.
And then I end up coming back with like double the ideas and
Yeah.
like everything's good again. And I know it's
Yeah.
never gonna last long. So I don't know. I just like spend time with friends or work out or do nothing also is
Yeah.
nice. So it just depends.
Doing nothing is really underrated. Like
I
sometimes
know.
it is the absolute best. I am
Yeah,
looking
people
for
never do it, you know?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Sunday when I can just sit on the couch and watch football all day and
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. So,
exactly. Yep,
man,
absolutely.
it'll be it'll be fun. But,
Mhm.
so one thing that we do with everybody that comes on the podcast, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time left because you got a heart out here, but I want to play this fun little game. It's
Okay,
called That's So Random. It is
okay.
I have a random question generator and I'm going to ask you three random questions
Gosh.
and we'll just
Okay.
kind of let it be from there. So if you're ready, let's play. That's so random. If you were forced to enlist as a soldier in any war in history, what war would it be?
Oh my God. This is a hard question. I would probably pick Vietnam War, which just sounds so random, but
Yeah.
that's the point of the game, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
my granddad was in that war, so maybe that
Yeah.
would be like cool. Like I could be with him. I don't know. That's a
Yeah.
hard question.
It is a hard question,
I
but
don't even know.
it
None
was a
of them
good
really.
answer. It was a good answer. What gets you up in the morning?
Life in general, I feel like I'm happy with what I do day to day, and the people that I get to see. I have some really, really good friends. I love my family. I love my job. I love music. I'm just an optimistic person, so it takes a lot for me to just like not want to get out of. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I've ever been that kind of person, but
Yeah.
yeah, just like purpose, I guess.
Yeah. I need more optimistic people in my life. That's great to hear. So, uh, and then final question, what fictional movie do you wish would become real life?
Fictional movie. I feel like I've always wanted pets to talk and to
Mm.
like be my friend. So I feel
Nice.
like the movie Pets.
Yep.
I think that's the best. I know it's a kid movie, but like it hits. It's such a good movie. And I feel like that'd be so fun. You just like walk in,
Yeah.
your cat's just like, hey, like I did this today. What'd you do? I don't
Yeah.
know. Love that.
But any movie with Kevin Hart, is it really a kid movie? Like
Honestly,
just
I don't know. I feel like
just
there are movies that you can watch with your kids, but they're
yeah.
also for the parents,
Yeah,
you know?
for
So
sure.
that's why I like it probably.
like Shrek was back in the day. That was
Yeah,
by no means a
exactly.
kid's movie. So
I know people are like coming back out with like TikToks and videos and like
yeah,
showing certain scenes, and they're like, "We let our kids watch this? Why?"
yeah, yeah, that's
It's
so
so
wild.
funny.
Um, but yeah, so that's so random. Just a
Love
little
that.
quick, fun little sidetrack. But for anybody that wants to check out your music or interact with you on social or listen to the new single when it comes out, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I'm easy peasy. I'm Bella Ray Music across the board. And it's Raye with an E on the end. And so yeah, you can look up my music on whatever you listen to, Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, under Bella Ray.
Mhm.
And my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it's all Bella Ray Music. And yeah, I mean, I post constantly, obviously. So I'm
Awesome,
around.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And then, as for the, do you have any advice for the young kids out there? Sorry.
Yeah, I do. And I'll say it because I didn't honestly believe it myself fully until about like a year ago.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people I feel like that are gonna, whatever it's gonna do, your music, or you
Mhm.
have a dream to be a doctor or whatever, there's always gonna be people who put their insecurities on you or like try to put you in their box of like what they think is acceptable and whatever that might be. And so it's just like I was told one time to always have blinders on
Yeah,
and just like keep going, because eventually like you're gonna have all this noise and it's just gonna get louder. But then once you get to the loudest point, you'll be so good at like blocking it out that you're like unstoppable. So just to do what makes you happy, and it's your life, it's not anyone else's. And because at the end of the day, like if you wake up and you're like, I'm happy with what I'm doing, that's like that's you've won at that point.
yeah,
So yeah, that'd be my advice.
100% agreed. Well, I said I'd have you out of here by 7:30. I'm about as close as it's gonna get. So,
Pretty good.
but once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It was an
Thank
absolute blast.
you.
We'd love to have you back on
Yeah,
anytime.
I'd love
Um,
that.
yeah. And thank you everybody for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow night with another amazing podcast.
Sounds good. Thank
Yeah,
you guys.
awesome. Yeah, thank you.